I don't know, it's a big deal. Ubisoft is telling people that if you're inactive, they're gonna disable your account and you're gonna lose all your content. But I think this like goes in line with a lot of things I've been saying about age of the digital, where you don't own anything more. You're merely renting everything from companies. Amazon, Microsoft, when you use their video services and you buy a movie, if something happens in their licensing agreements or whatever, you lose that movie when they change platforms or anything like that. So the fact that it's hitting the gaming world now is not a shock to me. I feel in the age of digital where physical copies don't really exist, everything is just rented, and it's a matter of how long that company's willing to let you rent something based on full purchase price, which, call it a scam if you want, but it is what it is. We've allowed this to happen in this age.
Plugged in for some time, you lose all of your games you purchased forever. For added context, Ubisoft can be required under certain data protection laws such as GDPR to close inactive accounts if they deem the data no longer necessary for collection. Ubisoft has claimed they didn't close accounts that are inactive for less than 4 years. Hey there, we just wanted to chime in,
so
and,
I mean,
that you can avoid the account closure by
span.
logging into your account within 30 days since receiving the email picture and selecting cancel account closure link in the email. We certainly don't want you to lose access to your games account. If you have any difficulties logging in, then create a support ticket. What? Like, am I missing something here? This is ridiculous.
At least they send an email with a 30-day warning, but I'm going to be real honest. I get a lot of spam email, and I may not notice something like that.
We notice that you have not been using your Ubisoft account associated with the email address. We temporarily suspended your inactive account. I mean, listen, Ubisoft is like Blizzard. People are going to use any little fucking thing that they can find to shit on this company. But the one question that I do have
fair.
is that how is it, does Blizzard send out these emails in the US? Or sorry, in the EU? Does Bandai Namco send out these emails? What, so if this is something that is required of these companies, then why do all the companies not do it? Charlie made a video about it. Let me look and see.
I may not.
Yeah, if it is required, then why, like, Steam doesn't do it? There's other companies that don't do this practice. It seems like a scapegoat or a reason that allows them to do it, as opposed to it's the standard and it has to be done. It's an excuse for them to do it, which is kind of backwards.
Not be a quantum physicist or anything like that, but I still would like to present to you a theory that I've cooked up here. Okay. One that I'm nowhere near qualified enough to speak on with good authority, but one I'm going to present with confidence anyway. I'm going to
as you
my
should.
Weight class to deliver an important truth about our universe.
Look, if you're going to be wrong, be confidently wrong. But, like, that's just the way it is. A lot of times it doesn't matter what you say, it's how confident you are when you say it.
First, that will open your third eye, and trust me, this is going to be a shocking revelation. I believe at some point along our developmental path, we have overlapped with a parallel universe. I will dub our original
Is this about Ubisoft?
What? This is getting off the rails?
The Berenstein Bears timeline, because that's what the books were known as when I was a child. And at some point along our history, our timeline collided with the Berenstain timeline, and the two performed a bit of a fusion dance, an unholy matrimony, and merged together, forming this amalgamation of nightmares we now live in. Our new cursed timeline.
Yep.
And one of the effects of the timeline isn't just Berenstein Bears being changed to Berenstain. It's also, seemingly, the fixation every successful company has on self-destruction. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but some of the most successful companies in the world are making the absolute dumbest decisions. It's as if when the timelines collided, all of the...
I think also, like, a lot of the decisions that are made, like, what happens also is that people make them out to be way worse than what they are anyway. So, like, if something bad happens, like, there'll be a million people talking about it and making content about it. So it's like a multiplier for, like, how bad a decision is.
It's, and the truth, as I've heard so many times, is somewhere in between those two statements. A company makes the worst decisions in the world is one end, and everyone over exaggerates everything is the other end. And it's probably in the middle, and it's hard to tell because, like, you know what? Back in the 60s, 70s, if companies made these decisions, it would take a long time for it to trickle out, and people would talk about it at, like, bars or, you know, when they're getting their coffee in the morning, and like this news did not explode. But like now this Ubisoft thing happened, and within 24 hours, 30 creators are doing a video on it. So it happens so quickly and so loudly that it's hard to not look at it as an overreaction to some degree. But at the same time, these companies do seem to be making bad decisions. YouTube is increasing the price of their premium because they're having problems with people using ad blocker. Well, now more people that are on premium are going to look at ad blocker because they have the price increase. Netflix is doing the price increase and reducing screen shares, which screen share limitations have happened for a while on Netflix. But like these companies are trying to plug up all these holes that they consider like money siphons from them, and they want to plug up these holes to shore up like profits. But obviously people who use those systems or are loosely related to those small trickle holes are going to get very upset very quickly.
I think companies have been doing stupid shit like this all the time.
Leaders of these companies got banished to the doofus dimension and got replaced by an entire
I don't
fucking
think it's
circus. All of these clowns now in charge, bozo, are doing the dumbest things ever, sinking their companies. And the most recent example is Ubisoft. Ubisoft just proudly announced that they are actually willing to shut down inactive Ubisoft accounts, which means deleting all of the games you paid for, getting rid of your access to those games. Now, before going into this story in particular,
and I mean, this isn't new. I mean, like I said, this has happened in the video streaming service for a while now. I know that I used to have a Microsoft Music account and a Microsoft Video account. Microsoft Music mostly went away, and all of that music that I purchased on Microsoft Music is gone. I don't have it anymore. And then on top of that, I have seen movies or television series that I've owned on either Amazon or Microsoft that are no longer on that streaming service anymore. But even though I bought it, it's gone and I can't access it anymore. Like, this is not new. It's just new to the gaming industry, I think.
I'll go ahead and preface this by saying this isn't necessarily new. That's not groundbreaking. Steam, for example. If you get banned on Steam, like if you get your Steam account taken away, you lose your games. Basically, when you're buying a digital good on Steam, you're kind of just paying for like the receipt saying that you can play it. Like you're paying for an admission ticket, but you can always get kicked out. You don't.
Yeah, I think this is a bad thing, by the way. I'm not a fan of this you don't own any of the games that you buy thing. I think this is not good for the customer. Like there's no value for the customer that they don't even own what they're spending money on. Like, I understand that it's legal. I get that it's legal. I just think there should be consumer protection.
It's not the legality that's concerning.
How does it matter?
Own anything, which is why physical media is still a very important thing. But before I really dive in here, I want to thank today's sponsor.
Holy shit, are you playing Watcher of Realms?
I am.
Well, tell me about it. I've heard about it.
Watcher of Realms is a next-gen fantasy RPG where you explore the mysterious continent of Taya and collect over 100 heroes. Watcher of Realms isn't like other games you're used to. There's skill casting, character synergy, hero matching, and more, which adds a very...
I was gonna say, like, you can hear how excited Moist Critical is about this game, but, like, Moist Critical's known for, like, his monotone, like, flat delivery, so... Yeah, it's just on brand for him. He probably is excited. I can't tell. I can't tell anything with him. But it's great. He's got a great delivery style that really like captivates people, I guess.
Very nice layer of skill and strategy to it. You collect gear, artifacts, and skill dust to
definitely reading a
to
script
give you an
though.
edge in battle. You can also team up with your guild partners to challenge the
Can I buy
epic
that?
dragon and rush to the top of rankings. Watcher of Realms looks beautiful.
Can I buy it?
It's 3D models
Can I
for
buy
each
it?
hero with custom animations.
Pay to win?
And of course it comes with fantastic soundtrack.
Wait, so you're saying I could play? I can play it for free right now?
Demons,
And buy everything?
6 unique
And win?
classes you can play, 8 factions, and you can enjoy just the rich
Wait,
story.
oh my God.
The continent of Taya. You deploy your heroes, use your skills at the right time, and kind of, use that to get an edge in battle.
There's even an event going on right now for the launch of the game where you can join the Game
that
Theorist
Schlatt?
and Jay Schlatt's team in order to compete for awards using the link below. So thanks again for Watcher of Realms for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to use the link or scan the QR code on screen to check out the game today. So let's dive in. It all started with this Twitter post here saying Ubisoft closes your account if you haven't logged in for some time. You will lose all your games purchased forever. And then it shows a screenshot of the email they had received saying that they're temporarily suspending the inactive Ubisoft account and will be permanently closing it in 30 days in accordance to their terms. But if you wish to keep this account, then you've got to click on the link that's in the email below. Now, when I first saw this, I thought it was maybe a bit of baloney here. I didn't know if it was legitimate or maybe this was like some kind of isolated incident or some kind of like fringe outlier where the account must have done something, had violations or something, and now it's been collecting dust. I just thought there was extenuating circumstances. Because, like, with Steam, you're usually not just getting banned willy-nilly. No one's losing their Steam account for not...
It seems like Steam is very reasonable in the way they do account bans and everything like that. They're very upfront and fair about the process. So it's more palatable, I guess. But at the same time, I guess the Ubisoft thing was saying accounts that have been active for more than 4 years, which that's reasonable. I don't like it. It's silly, and I shouldn't lose accounts just because I haven't played a game from you recently. I don't know. The Ubisoft one seems more arbitrary than Steam's system.
Logging in for like a long period of time, I don't think, at least not that I know of. So this was certainly a first, and it was an eye-opener because Ubisoft did confirm this. They went into the replies.
That's what's so weird to me about this is like, if this is a law, then why doesn't every other company follow it? You see what I'm saying? It's so confusing.
It's accurate. Like I said, I think it's a cop-out. It's a reason that they can do it, not a reason they have to do it.
Hey there. No exclamation point. You make me sick, Ubisoft support. At least show some excitement here. Get some enthusiasm behind the statement. Hey there with just a period? How monotone. I can feel that you don't even want to be in the replies. We just wanted to chime in that you can avoid the account closure by logging into your account within the 30 days since receiving the email pictured and selecting the cancel account closure link contained in the email.
I mean, it is a fairly simple process, I guess,
or account. So if you have any difficulties logging...
Somebody says it might be a specific French law. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer, right? I'm not an international lawyer.
Like, no... very few people are a lawyer. Then on top of that, you have to specialize it. Now you're talking about international law. Like, even lawyers don't know how to lawyer every issue. So, like, you have to be so niched in your practice of law to understand this exact problem. But, I don't know.
But it would make sense to me that any business that does business in France would have to follow French law. And also they say it's because of GDPR, which I think is just a European thing. It's not a French specific thing.
And then please create a...
Well, it's also my understanding that like largely members of the EU can only do so much outside of the EU legal system. So like the EU system is kind of the dominant precedent for a majority of issues that affect any more than just one of the nations. So something like this, obviously it wouldn't be French specific because Ubisoft operates in France, Italy, Spain, Germany. So like it would have to be an EU issue, not a French issue. It'd be weird if you had to delete customers after 4 years but keep records for 5. That is an interesting point, but I don't know that that would necessarily surprise me. I guess you have to like clean your books before you're getting rid of the files. So like in that aspect where you have to keep tax record for 5 but delete inactive accounts after 4, that gives you 1 year where you can review that account to see when it went inactive before getting rid of the tax files, which would almost be a built-in check and balance in my mind. Like, none of this sounds right or makes sense to me. I'm just saying, if I had to like logic my way to a reason, that would make sense, that you get rid of inactive users at 4, and then that gives you 1 year of tax records to verify when they went inactive before getting rid of those tax records.
A support case
I don't
with us,
know.
and then
I really don't know.
Ubisoft.com/help. So they do confirm that this is a real policy, and if you don't click that cancel account closure link, you're losing your account and you're losing all the games that you have paid for. No negotiation.
I guess Ubisoft saw that Blizzard was stealing all their thunder, and they were getting everybody talking about them by, tricking people into buying their battle passes yesterday. So they were like, well, look, I mean, like, we don't want to get shown up by Blizzard every day. We've got to come in and, like, really show people that Blizzard's not the only clown show.
Look, you're not the only one that's allowed to have train wrecks around here, okay? We're allowed to have bad press, too. You want to go toe-to-toe? We'll go toe-to-toe. Hold my beer.
They're not the only circus in town. Hey, look at us. Look what we can do.
Madness.
Ubisoft is shutting the doors and they're taking your toys. And
God,
that's pretty hard. Like, that's kind of aggressive, I would say. So I did a little bit more digging here, and according to this article that I was reading, they do make this policy pretty clear, though it's one that I was unfamiliar with, and I'm guessing a lot of other people were unfamiliar with as well. This article comes from Windows Central and says that on their website, they detail the policy against inactive accounts. Please be reassured that Ubisoft does not automatically close inactive accounts. As part of our terms of use, in rare instances, we may immediately close inactive accounts to comply with local data protection legislation. This is only if we have strong reasons to believe that the account in question will remain unused. I don't know how they would have reasons to believe that an account will be unused unless they...
That's the email.
It's like if you don't log into it for a certain amount of time.
Have like a...
Right. I mean, I think if it goes unused for X number of years, statistically, you're not coming back. And then you send an email, and if you don't reply to the email, you're basically confirming the reasonable suspicion that the account will not be reused. If I had to break that down, I guess.
A death certificate of the person who owned the account? Like, you'd never be able to say with a high level of certainty who's never coming back, right? Like, how would they have access to that kind of information? But regardless, they go on saying that they may also close long-term inactive accounts to maintain their database. You'll be notified by email if we begin the process of closing your inactive account. And if your account was flagged as inactive and you would like to keep using it, you can cancel the closure of your Ubisoft account and then find the link for the cancellation in the Ubisoft email. And then there's some more mumbo jumbo.
It's probably really linked to server data space. Realistically, I think at some point these companies have excess amounts of data in servers that they are trying to clear up because data storage cost is not cheap and it keeps building up. It's something that continues to expand and expand unless you have a way to clear out some of that data. It's going to become a compounding problem forever.
Jumbo about checking your spam folder just in case and this and that. But it does confirm that they will delete inactive accounts from time to time. And that does mean losing all of the games that you paid for.
I just don't see a world where, like, this makes sense that they're doing it, but every other company isn't doing it. Like, what the fuck?
I still don't really understand the reason for it. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, I think it makes sense, right? They're trying to save money on data. They don't want to have as much data, and so
Nailed it.
they're just saving money on data. That's probably the reason why. I don't think it's really that complicated.
It's Occam's razor, right? Like, oftentimes the simplest solution is the correct solution.
The only time this ever makes any sense to me is in the case of cheaters. If someone's cheating in an online game, obviously banning them makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, they get paid for the product,
That's
but
what
that doesn't
Steam
mean that they
does.
get to go in there and cheat in the game. And
Correct.
they should be banned for it, which
Correct.
does restrict access to the game they paid for.
Yeah.
But it's their fault. They fucked themselves. They broke the rules. Whereas here, no one's breaking any rules. They're just not active on Ubisoft. For good reason. Uplay's a fucking laughable joke of a service, so maybe there's just nothing that's bringing them back, and they haven't been back for a while.
I mean,
Why
is
should they
hard
lose
to-
access
I
to
don't
all
know.
of the games they fucking paid for? When it comes to like a single player game, or really any game aside from cheating in multiplayer games, when you pay for it, you own it forever.
Well, you should own it, but
You
you don't
should.
own it, and that's the problem. That is the fucking problem right there. Is that whenever you buy one of these fucking games, you buy a license to play the game. It's like you buy a store mount, and wow, you don't own that store mount. You don't own those pixels.
No.
You own a license to use a license for these pixels on your licensed account.
Y'all need to
You're
stop
renting it.
jumping in the house.
Yeah, it's like Blockbuster. It's crazy, man.
And should always have access
Ruined.
to it, because you bought
No, like, and that's the thing. Digital age equals temporary rental of whatever you want, even if it's a full price purchase price. It's where we've headed for a long time. It's a problem, but unless there's some like consumer protection act that makes it so that they can't do this and take away content that you've purchased, it's going to continue to exist.
it. But that's just not the way things really work when it comes to digital goods. And there's always just kind of been like this handshake agreement that, you know, you bought this on our service, so you do have it. You can play it whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Until we tell you you can't. And here they're saying you can't.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it's gotten this far and it hasn't been an issue is because we haven't had a lot of instances of companies just like banning a ton of people for a reason that's like it's like an unfair reason, effectively. And so like nobody's really talked about it. Nobody really gives a shit because it's not happening. But it's a huge problem. It's just a matter of time.
Based on some arbitrary distinction
it's about
of
hitting
you've
the
been
right
gone too
person,
long.
really.
You're too inactive, so we're deleting you. Which I think is really fucking dumb. That should be illegal to do that, if you ask me.
I agree.
And let me explain why I think.
Right. Again, like the only way companies are going to stop doing it is if some digital consumer protection act gets passed that prevents the ability from companies selling things at full purchase price and then at a later or for an arbitrary reason pulling back that aside from and like you have to make it so that that doesn't protect people who cheat in the games or violate the user agreement from getting banned also. So you have to find a middle ground where you can protect the user who pays full purchase price and yet still allows the companies to get rid of people who are manipulating or taking advantage of the system.
I don't think it's like, I don't think that it necessarily should be illegal in that way. I think that there should be some sort of massive, like if you terminate somebody's account and they're no longer able to use the product that they paid for, then you should have to fully reimburse them for the money that they spent originally on that product. So like even if you, like if Steam bans your account or whoever bans your account, you should be fully reimbursed. Like without even a question. There's no consumer protection, yes. Because again, like for example,
well, like, so the refund thing is kind of, that one's hard because what is the like diminishing returns? So at some point you've gotten value out of it. So let's say I buy the digital deluxe super copy for $150 and 4 years later I shouldn't expect $150 back if my account gets deleted. There should be some sort of like prorated diminished returns if you want to do the refund route, or there needs to be a system that if I come back, I can always get that back. So like if you deactivate my account, but I create an account that's linked to that deactivated account, it will restore those purchases. It has to be something along those lines. And when you buy something, it should be yours forever, but like that's not the way the digital age is working, and it's a problem, admittedly. And like this very well could be a publicity stunt in which Ubisoft is doing this just to increase their monthly active users on the Ubisoft portal, which is a metric that they could use to sell other things, but it would work for them. It's just a very odd way to try to drum up people talking about their services.
If I go to, I don't know, Walmart and I buy a chair, Walmart can't, like, whenever I get banned from Walmart, they don't get to come to my house and take the chair. I keep the fucking chair. It's my chair. Now, with like online only games, right? World of Warcraft, for example, it becomes more complex, and that's like probably I don't know really how this should work. But a lot of these games are not online only games, and there's no reason for them to be. I just think that there should be more consumer protection. Then everybody could do that as a way to refund the purchases with hundreds of hours of game time. Everybody could do that as a way to refund the purchases with hundreds of hours of game time.
Yeah. And work the system.
So they would like make Steam ban them to do
pretty
that?
much.
I mean, I don't know.
I could think of at least one user that has said that's probably what they would do. But yeah, no, it's a way to game the system so that like every year you essentially just like get yourself banned and then like hit the reset button and buy all new games. It's a problem, which is where like if they did it, it would have to be a prorated amount. Let's say a game comes out and they say that full gameplay is 100 hours and you have 150 hours in the game, your prorated returns would be very minuscule versus, you know, you'd have to value what the development and game entails and what the content is versus how much you would get back if you got banned. But even then, that's like a weird workaround, and companies would most likely put their game hours or content hours arbitrarily low to basically speed run the limit on returns for any potential refunds due to bans.
A horrible decision from Ubisoft. Why I think this is a particularly detrimental financial move for Ubisoft and other companies that follow suit is because it incentivizes people to not buy the official product. It encourages piracy. And not just this, but also the overly aggressive
encourage
DRM
piracy,
a lot
though.
of games
That's 100%
that
true.
actually makes the games play worse, is begging people to pirate the game instead because they get a more functional version of the game and they actually get to own it.
Well, this is a big thing with Nintendo games, is that people are doing that.
Nintendo. The emulators.
People are doing that all the time. Is that they're trying to, what do you call it? Like, they're trying to play the game with, like, out 30, like, I think Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or, like, the recent ones where people didn't want to have to play the game at 30 FPS on a shitty Switch. Yep. So they had, like, a jailbroken version, and it's, like, it's way better, but Nintendo's shutting it down. And it's like, how do you really deal with that? Again, I think that if you buy a game and you pirate, like, you emulate another version of that game, I think that's totally fine. Like, there's no moral wrongdoing in my mind for doing that. Now, I think if you don't buy the game and you're just pirating the game, well then, I mean, you're basically, it's not stealing because it's pirating. It's you know, like copyright theft. So like, there's no loss of a fucking tangible thing, but you're effectively fucking stealing. But like, if you've already bought the game,
stealing. You're stealing IP. It's still theft. It's not a tangible thing you can put on a shelf and have like a happy day about, but like, it's still theft. Piracy was the stealing of goods. Like, if you go back to the roots of piracy, it's It's not theft, it's copyright infringement. You were taking what is arguably a tangible good. It is the game. You are taking the game and utilizing it without paying the owner of the game. It doesn't deprive anyone of anything except for the developers of the money from the sale of games. So someone put time and energy into developing a game, and then if you pirate it off of a website, you get that product without paying for that time and energy spent in development. Except the money that they might have gotten has been purchased instead of copied. Like, I don't know how to break this down where, like, yes, okay, I get it. It's not a tangible good, but like, even if one person buys it and then copies it and gives it to 20 other people, that's the loss of 20 sales. That is the theft of 20 copies of that game. It's equivalently wrong, but not theft. I don't know. I think there's monetary loss that equates to theft. If I get that, like, there may be like legal jargon that separates the two, but at the end of the day, you are having a monetary loss that equates to theft of money from the development company and publishers of the game.
To emulate it on something else, what are we doing here? Are we really going to talk about how this is actually a problem? Come on.
You pirate a game, you
yeah.
own the game. That can't be taken away from you. Whereas if you buy the official game, if you just don't log into your Ubisoft account enough, you might just lose what you paid for. They might just deem you gone too long. You know, you went to the store to get milk and didn't come back in time, so now all of the games you bought from Ubisoft, you can't access anymore. The shit you paid for, you can't play. I don't know.
I think the biggest one for that point about, like, you can just lose it arbitrarily, it seems like it's an arbitrary point in time. And I think that a lot with, like, the issue we talked about with 7 days earlier is you have to have a very exact, and you have to have notice given. So if they decided that 4 years is going to be the cutoff, 6 months before they decided to start deactivating your accounts 4 years or older, they should have announced that if you have not logged in the last 4 years, it is our new policy that after 4 years of inactivity, your account will be canceled after an email that gives you 30 days to respond. They should have been very clear and upfront, and not an arbitrary statement about it is our policy from time to time that we will occasionally get rid of old. That's very open-ended. It's very subjective. There's no steadfast hard. If you want that to be your policy, people need to know about it up front, and if you add it later, you need to give them adequate notice, and it needs to be a very strict, hardline enforceable thing. If you tell people after 4 years you get an email that allows you 30 days, that needs to be the policy that people are aware of before it just happens. And yeah, emails can very easily look like spam. We get so many so many emails that, like, it's easy to miss this stuff.
Know how companies that have been around as long as Ubisoft has, or been as successful as Ubisoft has, are all of a sudden just missing the most basic concepts here. The water in their facility must be contaminated with a stupid juice infestation. I don't get it. Because the number one thing to combat piracy is a better service. It's not more DRM. It's not making things more difficult. It's making things easier, more convenient.
Right. If it's more convenient, it's time efficient, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, people don't pirate. That's just the way it is. People need a reason to go outside of the system. So, like, if you make the system just painful enough that they're willing to look for piracy, that's how piracy happens. Things need to be upfront, they need to be forward, and, like, easy to navigate. If your system is good or very intuitive, people are lazy by nature. They're going to find the easiest route. And if your system is the easiest route, they're going to continue to use it instead of piracy.
It faster and better. You get a better product when you buy the official one. You get it quicker. You get it easier, less headache.
That's the truth, right? Is that a lot of times, like, look at Spotify is the best example of this. Like, I don't pirate music anymore because Spotify is so good that it's worth spending the money because of the time that it saves.
There it is.
And it's not even remotely close. It's like infinitely fucking better. Even like Netflix, right? I have a Netflix subscription and I don't pirate like shows because it's just easier to just go and watch them on Netflix.
That's just the way it is.
It's just a better service. That's what beats piracy. But for some reason, companies like Ubisoft are going in the opposite direction where they're making a worse product and worse service for anyone that's trying to legitimately buy it and engage with the official products.
Now, the counter to that point is it doesn't make it worse right now. This policy, this new update of getting rid of 4-year-old accounts doesn't make it worse right now. It makes it more insecure over time. So, like, now you are aware that I can lose everything that I buy through this system. That's where it's worse.
Thus pushing people to piracy. It's something that everyone has mentioned like 1,000 times over the last few years. It's not just like a hot take from me or like a galaxy brain observation from me. This is basic shit that a company like Ubisoft should be able to recognize. It's just
the fact that there's no consumer protection laws at all for people that like just get their shit closed randomly it's like why not? What is the reason not to have that?
Dumb. Like, it's a silly policy to have. There's no way that it like somehow makes them money or saves them money or even like really frees up space or bandwidth for them or anything. It is just nonsensical. It's just dumb. It's just fucking silly. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this because this is just another example of another very successful company.
Whether you want to admit that or not, I think
really
it does.
No reason and no benefit. That's about it. So yeah.
I think that there's obviously, like, you know, you could say they're doing it to be compliant with the law. Maybe that's it.
I think
but again,
if
they're doing it to be compliant with the law, then they have to do it, right? They have to do it. I'll link you guys the video. But that doesn't excuse it in my mind. That doesn't just make it okay whenever they're the only ones doing it and all these other companies aren't doing it at the same level. If they were following the law that they had to follow, then of course they're not in the wrong. Of course not. But if this is just them being proactive and trying to save money, well then fuck that. Blizzard does the same. I got the email a few years ago telling me I needed to log in. If not, the account would be deleted. Is that true? Has anybody else had that experience?
I actually, come to think of it, I had a old World of Warcraft account that I can't find anywhere anymore, and I can't recover it because I no longer have access to the Army email system that account was connected to, but I am pretty sure at one point in time I lost all of my character data for my very original World of Warcraft. I just wasn't interested in playing it, and I'll never recover that again because of the new email issue. And I have a new Blizzard account. I've moved on, but I do think that may be accurate that at one point in time Blizzard did deactivate my account and everything went bye-bye because of something like this.
I also got a mail like this, yes.
Ago.
There's enough people saying yes that I believe that it's probably true. Yes, with many businesses, well then maybe Ubisoft isn't really in the wrong here. Maybe they are just following the law.
I think we just
and
don't
other
pay
companies
attention.
Do it as well. But because Ubisoft doesn't have a good public reputation, it's easier to shit on them. Yeah, maybe that's it. It's very hard to say because, I mean, it's again, like, I think that happens sometimes. Like people, you know, a company that nobody likes, or at least it's popular to dislike, does something that everybody else does, and then people shit on them for it.
Yeah.
Did your old BDO account get deleted as well? I don't know. I have no idea. Let's see here. And
that just is the whole, like, it's what happens to what person at what time. Did this one person get hit by something and struck the right chord with the right people to make it take off in popularity? It's like a series of unfortunate events for company X. This happened to someone. This person, a lot of people noticed that this person said it. We don't like this company, and it takes off. Despite, I think, this happening a lot more commonly than people think.
Company would follow law by removing all personal information from accounts, but we keep transaction history intact so the person can reinstate their account.
With the World of Warcraft, I lost access to game data, all my characters, all my expansions. So, like, if I want to play World of Warcraft now, I have to buy the new game. And obviously, there's been a lot of expansions since then, but I don't even have the base game anymore. So, like, everything from that old Army email account is dead and gone forever. I'll never be able to recover that.
And get all their previous purchases back. Well, I don't know what the laws are in Europe. I have no idea. Do you have a Ubisoft account? No. The fuck
No.
would I play on a Ubisoft account? Yeah. What about it? Impossible to find old games that are like $2,000? Because in my opinion, that's fine to pirate too. I don't know. I mean, again, like, I don't want to go through like a million fucking.
There's
like,
so many what ifs,
edge
shades of
cases
gray.
whenever piracy is okay.
Like, people who make those arguments about, like, what about this super specific example is you are trying to use an exception to justify the rule, which is not. It's not a viable argument. Because this one exception exists, it doesn't justify the practices overall.
Okay, like, look, just ask yourself an obvious question, all right? Like, it's very simple. Here's my perspective on piracy. If you can afford to buy the game, then buy the game.
Yes.
If you can't afford to buy the game, then you can pirate the game. But don't go and tell anybody that you're a hero for doing it. It's not a good thing to do that. And if everybody pirated the games, the game studios would go out of business and we wouldn't have any fucking games.
And it would all go to hell.
So, steal it. Be my guest. But steal it with a smile and don't fucking tell me you're Robin Hood. That's what I think. You want to steal a fucking game, you want to download it, you want to pirate it,
disagree with this.
Go ahead. Do it just fine. But don't
I don't
go
really
and
support
look for pats on
piracy.
the back to morally
I know there's a lot of work that goes into all of this on the back end, and I think people deserve, if they give you a product that is entertaining and gives you entertainment, I think they deserve that revenue. I'm sorry it sucks, and a lot of the systems suck, and a lot of them are overpriced, but at the end of the day, that's someone's job, that's someone's livelihood. I don't support piracy in really any aspect. Do I understand why it happens a lot? Yeah, I get why it happens, but that doesn't mean I'm going to support it or going to pretend to tell someone that it's okay, or I understand you just couldn't afford it and you needed to find a way.
justify what you're doing. You don't need entertainment. You don't need to play the new expensive $70 video game. This is not
Accurate.
a life requirement. This isn't something that this has to happen. That we're not talking about insulin. We're not talking about diapers. We're not talking about milk. We're talking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Get the fuck out of here. There's no reason for you to pirate this video game. You're doing it purely for your own selfish interests. And you know what? More power to you. But do not fucking go and tell me that it's justified. Steal it with a smile.
We're sticking it to the corporate man. That's so stupid. Like, you know what? You can hate the major companies all you want. And if like the company can go get fucked, that's fine. But also the people that work for that company are the ones that you're attacking. It's not the C-suite CEO. It's not the CFO. It's not the company's bottom line. That is not what hurts when you do stuff like this. It is the game developer that is making ends meet and hoping he gets to stay with the company for the next project after he finishes this one. And if this one fails, his job will go away and now he's out. That's who gets hurt when you start talking about piracy. It's not the company. You can hate the company, but they're not the ones that pay the price at the end of the day. And if the whole company goes out, you're talking about a lot of developers and a lot of average Joes that will just not be able to find work again. And that's the problem with piracy.
Smile and don't tell me you're Robin Hood. That's what I fucking
You're
think
stealing
about
from the poor
Either way,
to spite the rich.
I feel like this probably isn't something unique to Ubisoft, but people are just shitting on them.
It's not unique to them.
Moral superior. People think that I have to make sure this is in line with my morals. No, it's not. Oh, God. All big companies look at data retention as a cost of business, as lifespan. Yep, for sure. Definitely. Justifying piracy is the most Reddit thing I've ever seen. Yeah, like, god damn, man.
I don't
Ubisoft
get
sent
it.
an email before. They deleted my account, but I don't know, to be honest, if I even want it. Yeah.
Well, see, that's a prime example of someone who's not coming back, right? Look, I think it's an issue, but I think it's only an issue because people just now noticed it. I think this has been around for a while, and I think that it's not going away unless there's some sort of digital age consumer protection act that goes into place that lays out guidelines of how companies can and cannot treat digital assets in the modern environment. Because right now, digital assets can disappear after purchase price based on who knows what. And I think until that changes and we have some form of actually owning the digital assets we buy, it's going to continue to happen. We'll see. Give it a like. Look, I've talked about him before. We like Asmongold. I don't agree with everything he says, but I think he's got a very good way at approaching the topics he talks about. He has a good thought process, and even if you don't agree with him, he's going to lay out why he got to that conclusion in a very logical manner. I enjoy his content, and you can subscribe, do this stuff. You want all that? All of that. Hey there, it's Skeg Broggy. Thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and follow me here on Twitch for more awesome content. Link is in the description.